Hard to believe, but every word of this story is true. This is not a legend, not a myth, not an exaggeration. This is the story of a woman the world ignored, a mother history tried to reduce to a single sentence, a survivor who stared death in the face for 2 long years in the coldest, most unforgiving place on earth. Her name was Ada Blackjack. A world moving forward and one woman left behind. The year was 1921. The modern world was racing toward progress. Cities were growing. Technology was advancing. But far away from that civilized world lived Ada Blackjack, a poor Inuit woman, struggling just to survive. She was not a hunter, not an explorer, not a warrior. She was a seamstress, a woman who stitched clothes for others to earn a few coins. She lived in poverty, and worse than poverty, she lived in fear. Fear for her son. Her young boy was suffering from tuberculosis, a slow, deadly disease in those days. Medicine existed, but only for those who could afford it. Ada could not. Every day she watched her son grow weaker. Every night she wondered if he would still be breathing by morning. And then, fate knocked. The announcement that changed everything. An announcement spread through the region. An expedition was being organized to Wrangel Island, a remote, frozen land in the Arctic Ocean. A place so hostile that even experienced explorers feared it. They needed men. They needed supplies. And they needed a seamstress, someone to repair clothes in the ice. Ada listened quietly. She understood the danger. She understood the risk. But she also understood something else. This expedition paid money. Enough money to buy medicine. Enough money to save her son. So Ada made a decision that would shock everyone. She said yes. Mockery before the journey even began. The expedition set out with 4 white men, experienced, confident, armed. And Ada, the men laughed. A woman, in the Arctic, she'll be dead within weeks. They didn't see a human being. They saw a liability. Ada heard every word, and she said nothing. She wasn't there to prove them wrong. She wasn't there to impress anyone. She was there for one reason only. Her son. Wrangel Island, the beginning of the nightmare at first. Life on Wrangel Island seemed manageable. Shelters were built. Supplies were organized. Ada did her job, sewing, repairing, staying quiet. But the Arctic does not forgive mistakes. Food supplies began to shrink. Weather turned brutal. Ships could no longer reach the island. Then came the decision that sealed their fate. The 4 men decided to leave the island, to walk across the ice and search for help. They promised Ada they would return. They never did.
Alone at the edge of the world, days passed. Then weeks. No sign of the men. Only wind. Only darkness. Only endless white silence. Ada was no longer part of an expedition. She was alone. With her was a small kid named Vic and one remaining companion, already sick and dying. Soon, even he was gone. Now the reality was terrifyingly simple. Temperatures below -50°C, 6 months of complete darkness, no humans, no rescue, just one woman, and one cat, where survival becomes war. This is where most people would give up. Ada did not. She picked up a rifle, a weapon she barely knew how to use. She carried a knife everywhere. Not for confidence, but because polar bears roamed the island. She learned to break ice with frozen hands. She gathered shellfish from beneath the sea ice. She trapped small animals, hands shaking from hunger and fear. Her clothes fell apart, so she stitched them back together. When gloves wore out, she made new ones herself, even as her fingers went numb, even when pain disappeared completely. Pain was a luxury she could no longer feel. The night death entered her 10-tone night, while darkness ruled the island, a shadow moved. A polar bear tore into her tent. The ultimate predator. The Arctic's executioner. Ada didn't scream. She didn't run. She fought. Using every ounce of strength she had left, she wounded the bear, and watched it retreat into the frozen night. She survived. Again. Faith, madness, and the will to live every day. Ada read Bible verses out loud. Not because she expected miracles. Not because she believed rescue was coming. She read them to hear a human voice. Her own. To remind herself she was still alive. Still thinking. Still fighting. She talked to her cat. She spoke to the wind. She spoke to her son in her thoughts. "I'm coming back," she told him. "I promised." 2 years in hell, one year passed. Then another. 2 full years trapped in the Arctic. Ada lost weight. Her body weakened, but her mind stayed sharp. She refused to die. Because somewhere far away, a little boy needed medicine. Rescue and a question that shocked the world one day, a ship appeared on the horizon. Rescuers approached the camp, expecting to find bones. They opened a tent and found a woman, thin frenziedly standing, but alive, and fully aware. Her first question was not about food, not about rescue, not about the men who died. She asked, "Did my son receive his medicine?" History's cruel irony: the world celebrated the dead men as heroes. Their names were remembered, their faces printed in newspapers. Ada Blackjack. She was mentioned in one lineage. An Eskimo woman also survived. That was it. Why we remember her today. Ada Blackjack was not also anything. She was a survivor, a warrior, a mother. She walked through the hell of ice and came back, not for glory, not for history, but for love, a mother's love, and that is stronger than death itself.